Upgrading the oval back here. This is episode 6. I'm having to reshoot this. I had some technical issues with the original footage. So basically in that footage I finished drilling these holes and went ahead and installed this. I actually forgot to put this string on the inside, so I had to take that screw out, move the string on the inside, and then put the screw back in. And then I got it all the way up to 5 strings installed. And then I noticed that the action height is kind of high, and so I'm going to need to lower this bridge. And that's about where I'm at the moment. I've backed all the strings off by 10 half turns, so it should be loose enough to pop this thing out. And the plan is to get some pickguard plastic and get that at the right height just for like this string until I get the action I want, and then measure what the height is of that piece of plastic and then compare it to measure this height, and that'll tell me how much I need to take off the bottom of this thing. And then to actually take it off, it looks like I was using the grinder. I just struck like a Sharpie line on the bottom of it and then ground down until I got there. But I'm afraid I'm probably going to end up having to take off, like half of this thing still. So, see what happens. Maybe I shouldn't really use this bridge at all or something. I don't know. But yeah, see what happens. Well, looks like this thing's going to need the full whammy as far as setup goes. Nuts a little high. This is down to about 2 mil right now. I'm reading a couple high frets here, like number 9, and 7 is way high, and these guys are kind of bowing this way all the rest of the way down. The nut's almost a mil too high. So very first thing I'm going to do is truss rod. Start the truss rod, and then probably lower the nut, and then see where I'm at. Might have to level the frets. Well, the neck is flat. The truss rod is loose pretty much, and it's got a little fall off starting at the 12th, but it's nice and even, pretty shallow, so everything there looks okay. Let me see what the fret level, the fret plane itself looks like. Okay, I checked it with a straight edge. It looks pretty good with a straight edge. With a rocker, this is reading just a little high. That's a little high. Number 9 here is way high. That's a little high. That's a little high. And these guys are a little high. So yeah, number 9 is kind of way high. But yeah, other than that, you've only got just a hint pretty much everywhere else that's got a red on it, and all the rest of them are fine. So, but the nut's definitely high, so I'm in the process of taking that off now. I suspect what's going on with the nut, the reason why it turned out high, is because it's got the nut and then 2 shims and then the neck wood, and then it's got 3 layers of CA glue holding all that together. And I think that 3 layers probably makes up that almost a mil difference between my original estimate and where it seems to have ended up. So I'm going to pop it off and probably take that 1 mil piece of maple shim out from underneath this thing if I can. So I recall I glued it just the 2 very edges to make it easy to remove. Don't know if you can see it, but we've actually got a bent nut screw. So I'll have to fish up some replacements when I put this thing back in. Okay, cleaned up the nut slot here with the chisel, hammer and chisel, and I went ahead and got that shim off, and then cleaned it up a little bit with some 60 grit, get everything nice and flat again. And now test fit it, check to see what our height's looking at. If you look here, there's not a whole lot of meat for the screws, so I'm thinking maybe a better approach is going to be to get the thing at the proper height and then add shim at the back here where it hangs down so that it'll just sit flat, and then just glue it in and not worry about the screws. So I think that's going to be the battle plan. Okay, I checked it using this trick. Base side's good. Treble side is maybe 1/3 mil low. It should be sitting, instead of sitting that way, it should be up about that much if you even saw me move it. So yeah, let me try a bit of brass or something. Check it out, that second coat of oil's pretty much all been absorbed here. And then up here it's still wet. But yeah, the bottom 1, 2, that one's almost all dry. 4, bottom like 5, they're like pretty much all dry. A little bit right there still, but okay, got a couple bits of brass in there, and that's got this leading edge right here all nice and set and correct. Once you go like that, and then you go like that, you get just a little bit of wiggle over this one, which is just what you want. Just a hair of relief. So that takes care of the front edge. Then for the back, I'm going to need to do some kind of serious shim action in there. I don't even know how big that is. That could be as much as like 5 mil at the very back edge. So I got to think about that for a minute. I'm kind of thinking that next time might be a better approach to just take this. You take all the part that's covered by the nut, so like about back to here, and everything from my finger from here to here, you would just like take the Shinto rasp and file all that stuff down flat so that you would have a nice flat wide shelf for your nut. And then you just get a small block of wood and cut it the same size as the bottom of the nut and of adequate thickness to get it up in the zone, and then you just glue it on and then just start sanding until it's right, and then you're done. And I suppose you'd have to glue the whole thing onto the shelf, or you can just, yeah, it'd be better to tack glue it at least, even though just string tension would probably hold it in place. So that might be a better way than messing around with all these little bits of shim here and little bits of shim there kind of stuff. So, but I've got the front half of this, so that's half the battle. I think I'll just continue on the way I am. This back's going to be interesting. Alright, see what happens. Okay, going with a bit of purple, and I got the CA glue on already. Time to slap it together. Okay, it's on, and yeah, see, we're looking real good here. Just a hair clearance. See how you can wiggle it without it touching. So that's what you want. Just got to let it dry now. Take a look at what we've got going on here. The front of the nut is actually flush with the end of the fingerboard and nice vertical. The base of the nut actually tilts this way a little bit in relation to the fingerboard. But because of that, we've actually got a sufficient brake angle here now that, hold on a sec. Thought the other way would be a better way to show this, but here you can actually see pretty well the way that the base of the nut actually tilts this way in relation to the fingerboard. And we now have enough brake angle here that when you press down on these guys, you get no movement on this side. At least none that I really detect. Which means that really we can either forego the string hold down altogether. We might need it on the top end though still. Or we can just put it in and not really torque it down really tight at all. Because you don't really need it, looks like. Some guitars you do, some you don't. Some of them, I mean, it's like my LTD M2, the original screws broke off, just leaving the two ends of the screws in the guitar, and it had sufficient brake angle that it really only needed a hold down right here, so I just put in a single tree for the number one string on that guitar, and that was it. It doesn't have a full string retainer bar anymore. But anyway, yeah, so I guess I'm back to, oh, now I gotta deal with the bridge. But yeah, the nut's looking much better. Much better. Yeah, remember this one's set at about 2 mil for bridge height. And action is now actually kind of low probably, but tolerable. I'm sure we're going to be getting some buzz someplace this is awfully low. But yeah, it's looking much better. Much better, so. Okay, yeah. Alright, so I guess the next step is I need to go back to figuring out exactly how tall the bridge needs to be. Jellin, stay off the guitar. Okay, I kicked it up to back to the first one that I was using for saddle height, so this is back to around 3 mil, and it's buzzing at number 15. This guy here, so looks like and the action's already higher than 1.5 mil. It's probably about 1.7 or so. So it looks like, you know, if the action's already high here and it's already buzzing here, then I'm going to have to level the frets, it looks like. So much fun. So, yeah, and you don't need to see a video on how to level frets. Well, maybe you do, but you ain't going to see it from me. Go and watch Crimson Guitars. That's who I watch to learn how to do all this stuff. So, yeah, and we're at about 10 minutes, good quitting point. So I'm going to go level some frets, and that's going to do it for this edition, this episode. Yeah, I'm going to go level some frets and see what I can do, and then pick up again from there, I guess. Until then, everybody, pan back. Will it focus before I end the video? Everybody, have a good one. No, it won't. Let's give it some help. There, focus on my shoe. Nope. Well, what can I say? Whoever makes this phone, they suck. I think it's Galaxy, Samsung. I couldn't tell you for sure. 25 bucks refurbished from TrackPhone. What do you expect for nothing? See y'all later.